This episode features Emma Kim, who is the owner of Paper Panda, an online paper shop, subscription box planner service, and most recently, a stationery and lifestyle retail shop in Orange County, California. You can find her at paperpanda.com or at the Mission Viejo Mall in Mission Viejo, California.
Thank you so much for joining us, Emma. We're so excited to have you here. Yay.
So excited.
Thank you for
Um,
having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, I think the last time we spoke was at PlannerCon, or at least in person, before the pandemic. I want to say like 2019, 2018.
Like it's been a
Yeah.
long.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah. I miss going to planner events and things like that because I don't get to
Same
see
here.
I don't get to see anyone anymore.
I know, it's just not the same, like, being able to, like, see each other in person, and,
Yeah.
like, interact.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I really
I'm
hope
glad to
I
be
really
here.
hope it goes back to that though.
I agree.
Yeah.
And, well,
Yeah.
you have your own, plan to inspire. Am I getting that correct? You have
Yes,
that
yes, yes,
event?
yes, yes. We had our
Uh-huh.
first event last year, but we have no plans actually for future events. So maybe next year we'll try doing that again.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on the show. Let's just give our listeners a little bit of context. If you could tell us the inspiration behind starting your sticker shop and how you came up with the idea.
Yeah, for sure. For those who don't know me, my name is Emma, and I am the owner of Paper Panda, which is a stationery shop. And I guess we specialize in planner supplies. But the inspiration behind our shop actually starts all the way back to 2013. So I'm a super OG in the planner community. As you guys are too, right? You guys started like around the same time as me, if I recall.
I want to say around like
2016.
2016.
2016. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, not too far, not too
Mhm.
far behind. But yeah, I started Paper Panda as an Instagram back in 2013, actually. And it started off as just a creative outlet for me to just post my planners and my crafts, actually. It had nothing to do with a business. And at the time, I actually had gotten diagnosed with an autoimmune disease that year called lupus. And so I was actually bedridden for a while and I was just at home. So that's kind of the reason why I had started the Instagram as Paper Panda in the first place, just so I'd have something to do while I was like sick at home. But fast forward to a year from then, it actually just naturally grew my Instagram a year later. And next thing I knew, I had like 10,000 followers. And it just grew naturally. And so people just started asking me, like, hey, where can I get these washi tapes? Where can I get these stickers, these pens? And I'm like, hey, you know what? Maybe I should just start my own shop and send them to my own shop. So that's exactly what I did. I was a broke college student. I took $300, bought some merchandise, and just started my shop. And it kind of just, blew up from there.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really cool that you
Yeah.
were able to take your hobby and also put like a positive spin on something that happened to you.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It was a tough time, but yeah, it was a blessing in disguise, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you started as a like an online shop, but now you have a brick and mortar store. So what inspired you, or what made you want to open uh, a brick and mortar?
Yeah, so pre-pandemic, um we were going pretty hard on like all the craft shows and all of the planner events. Like we vended probably like at least once or twice a month before the pandemic.
Wow.
Oh,
And that was kind of like our way of connecting with all of our customers and our followers. And so um, I guess after, well, a little bit before the pandemic, we actually got I wouldn't call it a brick and mortar, but it's like a small business marketplace. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it in Orange County. It's called Open Market OC.
Mhm.
Yes.
But
Uh-huh.
yeah, so we actually started there, and for those who don't know, it's a small business open marketplace that has a whole bunch of different small businesses in it with little stalls. So we actually had a stall in one of those places, and then we heard it was like shutting down, so then we transitioned into our own brick and mortar shop in Mission Viejo Mall.
That's awesome.
Wow.
How has that been different from running an online store?
It's really hard. It's a lot different. But it's actually really nice because we kind of like intertwined it. Because we have a back room in our shop, and that's kind of where we run our online business. And then it's really nice because it's family owned. So I actually run the shop with my mom. So it's owned by my mom and I. So it's really fun to do that with her together. But yeah, it's a lot different.
Mhm.
I think I would say the most different part from owning an online shop and a brick and mortar is probably my freedom.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't like when I was working at home when I had my online shop, I could kind of like I had a lot of freedom. Like if I wanted to go out like in the middle of the day, I could, but I think that's probably the biggest difference is like, because we're in a mall, so we have to open from
Mm,
10 to 8 every day.
I see.
So that's kind of the tough part of it about it and the main difference.
So which one do you prefer? Um, like, do you still enjoy the physical aspect of it, or do you prefer the e-commerce now that you've done both?
Uh, you know, I can't decide because both have their pros and cons. So I wouldn't say I prefer one over the other because they're different. I
Mhm.
would definitely say having a shop is probably like more fun just because you get to like, I can have events if I want, like I can see and meet um our customers and followers and things like that. Um so I don't know, I can't choose.
Yeah, well, I feel like we would see you at all the events, vending. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of admiration for you because, like, I mean, we only did PlannerCon vending, and
Mhm.
that was so tiring for us.
Yeah.
Like, just being at the table all day, standing. Like, I feel like my feet would be so tired after
Mhm.
just one day of vending. So I'm like so full of admiration for you and for your husband, who I would also see there,
Oh,
like, doing that.
thanks.
It's just
Thank
crazy.
you. Thank you. Yeah, those shows are tough. I don't know. I think about doing those shows now and I'm just like, wow, I'm tired just thinking about it.
Yeah.
And that's also part of the reason also that having a shop is nice because I don't have to like pack up the things and like sell our items and then pack it back up and then like do it again. It's kind of like people can come to us and purchase the items instead of us going out to them now.
Mhm.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's kind of, yeah, it's nice. Less tiring for sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's good. You mentioned before that you were a college student when you started everything. Um, but did you ever think about, like, going into anything else besides Paper Panda, like, doing what would be, like, a quote, unquote, "regular job"? And, like, when did you decide, like, "Yes, I am gonna do this full time"?
Yeah, so I think I started Paper Panda. I think it was like a year or two before I had graduated. And I wasn't doing it full time yet. I was still in school. And at that time, I had gotten like my quote unquote big girl corporate job. Um, and I started working at this jewelry company called Benbridge. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. They
Mm-mm.
have a few stores around Southern California. But yeah, I worked for them in Seattle as a visual merchandiser. So I was still in the creative field, but obviously it wasn't, my dream job. But I was doing that at the time, when I started Paper Panda. So I would be working, a 9 to 5, and then I would go home, work from Paper Panda from like 6 to 2 a.m. And
Wow.
at that point, that was when I had to jump ship and really had to decide, like, okay, I think, I'm making enough here. I'm going to quit that job. And then I went full time with Paper Panda. Um, at the point where I was like, okay, I'm not sleeping anymore. I I need to start sleeping and concentrating on my business. But yeah, I did transition. I had my boss was nice enough to like, give me Fridays off so I could work for my business. So I kind of transitioned out slowly, and they were really nice about it.
Oh, that's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Were you scared to make that transition? Like, was there any sort of doubt, or did you just like know in your heart, like, yes, this is what I'm gonna do and it's gonna be successful?
I think both. I knew for sure that's what I wanted to do full time because I love doing it. But at the same time, I was scared because, I didn't know it was going to succeed or not. And then also, it was just me. My husband at that time had a full time job himself. So here I was, I quit my big girl corporate job, and my first day was just me alone at home. So it was like I was excited, but then and then I kind of like realized like, wow, this is just me at home by myself. I have
Yep.
no coworkers.
What would you
uh,
say is your favorite part about being an entrepreneur?
my favorite part, I would say probably like the creative aspect of it. I love I love taking an idea and like bringing it to life. Um, that's one of my passions. Like I love designing, a product and then, seeing it being made and then, shipped to me. And I'm like, wow, I created that. This is so cool.
Wow. That's
But then also I also love um I love the freedom of having my own business as well. Even though I do have the shop now and it's not like total freedom anymore. But yeah,
Yeah, the freedom is
I love being my own boss.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
hmm
what's it like to work with your mom and your husband and or slash any other family members? How has that been?
I love it. Yeah, I've been working alongside my husband for a really long time now, probably like 5 or 6 years or so,
Oh,
probably
wow.
even longer than that since we moved back to California from Seattle. Yeah, I love it. Like we're pretty much together like 24/7. We get along really well working together. Um, yeah, we're two peas in a pod. I love it. And then owning a store with my mom has been like so fun. Like we do all the buying together. It's pretty much just like a giant shopping spree of buying things we love and like sticking it in the store. So it's really fun. Prior to having Paper Panda as a shop with her, she actually owned a business in Juneau, Alaska that catered to the cruise ship cruise ships.
Oh,
So it was a
wow.
gift shop. Yeah. So she had that for 30 years. So my mom has pretty much guided me throughout my business from the start. So it's been great having a shop with her and working with my family. Yeah. It's a huge blessing that I have my family um working with me because I love hanging out with them and I'm super close with them as well.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
awesome. Yeah, it's always good to like be with family members, and like have that time to spend with them.
Mhm.
My husband really wants to work with us as well, and I'm like, I don't think our relationship can survive that. Like, I think it's healthier for us to spend some time apart. But like with Lisa, it's really
Uh-huh.
nice to be able to spend more time with her and work with her. So I
Oh,
get it.
congrats, by the way. You just got married,
Oh, thank
right?
you. Thank yes. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so exciting. Married
Thank
life is so
you.
fun.
Yep.
What so last question that we have for you is what advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs who are looking to start maybe their own sticker shop or some sort of creative business?
I would say I would say make sure you really love um what you're doing. So like for example, you really want to make sure you love stationery and
Mhm.
planner
Mhm.
stickers before you get into the business aspect of it. And I tell anyone with any sort of business this, and that's because when you own your own business, you're pretty much thinking about it and working almost 24/7 when you start it.
Yes.
And so to be doing something you don't like, um, that's a pretty terrible life to be doing something you don't like 24/7.
Uh-huh.
So I always say, make sure you're passionate about it and make sure you really love what you're doing. Um, so you can enjoy it. A lot of people, get into it because, oh, I want to make all this money, in the planner community making stickers. And
Mhm.
it's like, you really gotta love like what you're creating because you're just gonna, you're gonna be grumpy creating something you don't
Mhm.
like.
100%. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's great advice. Well, I want to say thank you again for being on our podcast. We absolutely love having you, catching up with you. It's been a minute. And
Yeah.
where can our listeners find you? And
Yeah. Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram. It's paper and then Panduh. Yes, panda is spelt wrong because the regular spelling was taken. But yeah, my website is the same, Paper Panda, and that's where you can find me.
awesome. And where is your physical shop too? Just so people know if they live in the area.
Yeah, it is in Orange County, California, specifically in Mission Viejo Mall.
Okay, wonderful.
Hmm.
And I will
Hmm.
have all of the links in our show notes so that people can find you easily. But yeah, I want to say thank
Yeah,
you. It was
thanks.
wonderful having you. Love hearing about how you started and how it's been going and all.
Thank you. Thank you. It was great chatting with you too.